Okay, now before we install this onto the bike, I might just show you all the other elements of the kit so you're familiar with them before we need to bolt them onto the bike. So that's the Commuter Booster drive, so that's the motor. To drive the motor we need a brushless controller. It's one of these guys. I like this one mainly because it's got an on-off switch, which makes really handy to be able to just turn the whole drive on and off via this switch. A lot of the controllers don't have that, and this has been quite reliable for me, so I'm quite happy with that. I've also made some small phase extension cables, so these just use the same bullet connectors, male and female. Just make these cables a little bit longer. That's really bike dependent on how long that needs to be and where you mount the ESC. Typically this will just connect to your battery pack. Here's the battery pack that we showed earlier. So that will connect directly to there. And we need to tell the motor to go how fast to go. So that's normally done via this cable. The simplest method is to use a servo tester like this. That's essentially a potentiometer there, and then some electronics in here which send out a little pulse width modulated signal to the cable to tell it how fast to go. That works, but it's pretty dangerous using that as a throttle, and also does no limiting of power or any other smarts. So essentially what I've done is replace that with this. This is what I've been calling a brain box. I haven't come up with a better name, but essentially this is a small 8x2 LCD display on a handlebar mount. That's for road type diameter bars. There's a little rubber insert for smaller bars that you can put in there. Then inside this little box there is all the rest of the smarts. So that's a little microcontroller, and we can also put an a micro SD card in there and connect a temperature probe. But essentially battery connects to one side and the controller connects to the other. This is for that ESC connection here, and then we've got two more cables that come out of that. One of those goes off to that display that we saw earlier, and the other is a wheel sensor. So there's lots of cables. Looks like a bit of a mess off the bike, but once it's on the bike it's all neat. So that's wheel sensor, and there's a typical magnet that attaches to your wheel. And this other cable runs up, as I said, to the head unit. This mounts up on the handlebars, and off here there's a simple button. This does all the interface control, so that is your throttle, and it also does all the settings of changing the settings on the brain box, changing display screens, all that sort of stuff is all via a single button, and I'll show that interface separately.